How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
How's it feel to be in a music classroom on a Tuesday morning? Just curious.
There's timpanis in here. There's congas. Like, I kind of wish there was just some, kids to play them, but it's fun.
That could be arranged, man. I don't know if you can wait 8 hours, but
hey, I'll be back.
So listen, that sounded great, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk to me a little bit about generally the songwriting process and then that specific song.
Yeah, in general, like I feel like mainly a lyric writer. Well, I write from all angles, but I feel like lyrics have always been a big thing for me. So that's kind of where I typically start. And with that song in particular, or oftentimes I'll have like my lyrics here and I'll have my musical parts here, and then I'm like, which ones match up and kind of put them together. But so with that one in particular, I had this, bombshell, beauty queen, blonde Barbie girl with the alliteration and stuff, and I was just like, I had that for a while, and then I wanted to kind of write like an anti-bullying song, specifically for my niece, because she's like, I don't know, she's at that point she was just like 7, and she's just, she's kind of an oddball a little bit, and so I thought I would, with her in mind, as well as anyone else, I just wanted to stress the fact that it's important to be an individual and just be yourself no matter what, because though you might go through some annoying stuff as a kid, when you're older, it makes it cool, I think.
Well, it just adds more layers to you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
So, I think you're going to get this a lot when the album drops in the fall, which is, by the way, a shameless plug that I just worked in there. That you kind of have like a retro vibe, like even your outfit is retro.
Yeah.
But I don't say that as a bad thing. I think a lot of times people just say retro, and it's kind of like a different way of saying like unoriginal, because I don't think it is at all. I would say the same thing like Fits in the Tantrums and any of the bands now, where it's kind of like contemporary retro, if that makes any sense.
Totally. Yeah, I mean it's fun to take a retro vibe and put your own contemporary twist on it. I actually had the same guy that mixed Fits and Tantrums' first record mix this record that'll be coming out as well, and and so yeah, I'm a huge fan of that stuff. Like in the last couple years, I've either listened to like old school I've listened to like old school for the longest time, since forever. As soon as I stopped listening to Toby Keith, I was listening to old school. But then in the last couple of years, there's been like all this great like kind of throwback stuff that's come out, and I've loved hearing that as well. Mayor Hawthorne, Fits in the Tantrums. Obviously, anyone else, but even CeeLo's it's just like, and I love that music. It's the stuff that makes me tick the most. So it's just like I wanted to kind of go that direction as well, and it what felt most natural to me. So it takes big arrangements and a lot of musicians to play it, but I really enjoy that style of music.
So you mentioned Toby Keith. Do you I know you grew up in what? Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, well, Twin Cities. But I actually moved a bit. I just kind of say Minneapolis is like the center of it, because I was born in Milwaukee, and I lived in Twin Cities, then I lived in Fargo, and when Fargo would have been the moment that I got into Toby Keith, because I remember he had this song about like a dog in his backyard, and I love dogs, and so I was like 6, give me a break, come on.
Yeah. Oh, I don't listen. He's got a nice chain of restaurants.
It probably does.
So, at what point did your taste kind of shift toward like Motown or some other stuff?
Yeah, as soon as I've always been in, no matter what, I think like soul music and gospel music was always a thing that is always just naturally like I've loved, because I grew up in a church, like an a cappella church, and we always we're singing and learning harmonies, and I just think that naturally just like rubbed off on me, and then I just like so I guess that like I started playing guitar when I was like 12, and was just trying to like learn learn cool stuff, and I was like I went through a little metal phase, with Nirvana. I think like anybody who starts playing guitar like has to start with metal, but then like I don't know, I suppose like around 14 or 15 I just started you know, I just really got into, you know, Stevie Wonder was like the first, you know, and then Ray Charles and you know, then Donny Hathaway, and then like getting into all sorts of more stuff, and then yeah. So it's always been like my main passion as a musician, and so it was really exciting and fun for me to record all this stuff, you know.
Does the whole album have that kind of vibe?
Yeah, it's like, well, I'd say like it's kind of like I divided it, like I've kind of thought about this whole album like as a record, you know, with two sides, you know. So so the first side is like very throwback Motown, like I went for that vibe as much as I could, and then the second one is like that with more of like hip hop beats type of thing over it, you know. So it's kind of like a little like more contemporary version of the first part, but but it's overall it's in that direction, yeah.
Cool. And it's coming out in the fall. And if people want to find out about you, your
my
Twitter is what?
Twitter, I am Caleb Hawley, or
and it's Hawley with an E, right?
Hawley, yeah.
Okay.
And Facebook, on my website, you know, if you just put in Caleb Hawley, CALEB HAWLEY, if you just Google that, you'll find plenty of outlets, you know.
Cool. Just taking this conversation full circle, you kind of look like the young like if I want to like set this to sepia right now, and you'd look like the young rebel who's like crashing music class. Like, I just want to throw that out
cool.
there.
That's awesome.
You're like,
hey, that was me. I remember like when I was in music class in third grade. I remember like I have a very nice memory of me like throwing a chair across the room. So
nice. All right.
So
well,
actually, now that I'm in this music room, I feel
I was
like
going to say, let me turn off the camera and we'll just break some shit. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.